welcome to It's Not That Late with Liv Harrison. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're listening at Veritas' app, or if you're on 1350, or if you're listening on their new FM station. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're on YouTube watching, hello. You guys, this is our Epiphany show, which is super exciting and also sad. It means that we're kind of getting through this whole December, we're definitely out of December, but we're out of the whole Christmas season and we're into something new, and it is also still exciting. Growing up, I grew up with Little Christmas. My dad is 100% Italian from New Jersey, so he expected us to also give him presents on Little Christmas on Epiphany. I don't know if anybody else grew up with that way, but then we started catching on and we were like, well, this is fun. We should all get presents on Epiphany. And my mom at some point was like, and we're done with this, because it was just so many presents and we'd eaten all the things, which would be maybe why I had a little bit of a weight problem for a long time, lots of chocolate. So anyway, what's interesting is that I realized yesterday, we were filming, as we always do, we pre-record this, and tonight is really special. I want to acknowledge where I'm at. Obviously, I'm not in my studio for everyone who watches. I am in the very famous Ridgefield, Connecticut. That's you guys. They're new. They'll catch on. They're very, very cute. So you can't see any of them, but I promise you it's a very attractive crowd. And now they're all here, and we are at Silver Spring, without an S, right? Is that? I don't know. Okay. Country Club, and we're just having a good time. We're having some merriment and some drinks and some good cheer during this Advent season, which I don't think we're supposed to do, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. This is the Epiphany show, so we can have wine. So way to go, everybody. You're just ahead of the game. They're just, thinking forward. So what's great about these shows of doing them live and with a real audience is that we get to really connect and see each other. What's so funny is that yesterday I was reflecting, because yesterday was my 5-month anniversary for having this show. So you can.
Congratulations.
That's very good. Y'all are very good at this. So yeah, so I was like, wow, 5 months, which is crazy, because a year ago, I was in a really bad space. And I've talked about this on my platforms because I'm very open about mental health. I'm very open about my medical journey, and I try to share everything about it. The late night show, this show, I don't share as much of that piece of me, but I don't mind. It's just, does anyone just, want to see what Johnny Carson's doing with his medical? Nobody cares. We love Johnny Carson. Is he still here? I don't even know. No. He's gone? May he rest in peace. Okay, so it's interesting, in this place, I decided these 2 shows that I'm doing live on the air on the road, we're going to be a little bit more personal, a little bit more human than what I do on, in my studio back in Houston. And for one thing, I was in a really dark space last fall. I really was. I was up for a job at SiriusXM, and I didn't get it. And I was absolutely devastated. And that was like the final straw. You know what I mean? It was just it just floated down, and then everything just collapsed. Have you ever had that, where just one little thing just kind of snaps the whole bit? So that's where I was. And a girlfriend of mine said, oh, I want you to meet this guy named Steve Lee. And I was like, he sounds awful. Okay. He's in the room. And he signs my very big paycheck. There is no paycheck. But one day I want one of those really big checks, Steve, just for fun. So she connects me with Steve Lee, who I also don't think he was that excited to meet me. And we did a little FaceTiming, because I don't know if you guys have known, we've been in a pandemic. So me being in Houston, Texas, Steve being in Connecticut, that's how we had to connect. And he was very kind, and he said, why don't you pitch me a show? And I was like, I don't want to pitch you a show. I'm tired. Obviously, I'm not meant for this. And he was like, that's cool, but I've really got nothing else going on. No, not really. I did Steve a favor. No, that's not true. I wrote a show, and I pitched to him, and it was a morning show, because SiriusXM told me, you would be great for morning radio. I have a lot of energy. So I think they think this would help people. Remember, they want to go to work and not listen to this. They're like, that's drive, let's leave. So I pitched him a morning show, and Steve was like, that's great. What's your dream in life? And I was like, well, Saturday Night Live, but I don't think that's happening. So I'm guessing something else, but I don't know. My dream, Steve, is actually a late night show. I don't know if Steve knows this, but I had actually pitched a late night show to 2 other creators. They didn't have a fancy network like Steve, but I kind of started working on it a few years ago with some really great people. There's a great group called Catholic Creatives. I think there's like 5,000 of them on Facebook. Most of them are in their 20s, like me. Another big laugh. Okay. Great. I'm just going to keep saying all those kind of jokes. Let's forget the rest of the show. I've got a lot of that inside. So they're very young and they're all and so when I said, let's do a late night show, they were like, yes. And they get out videos and drones. I don't know what they have. And all these things. And so we start building shows and stuff. But then I remember, they're in their 20s. So that was that. I mean, it was like really exciting, and they owned a whiteboard, but that was it. So they couldn't get me anywhere. So it was just, kind of these things. In January of 2021, I actually made my first vision board ever in my entire life. 43 years old. I never made a vision board, and I was like, I don't know. What, you get some Oprah magazines and cut out Oprah? I mean, what am I going to dream? I want to be Gail. I would love to be Gail. I mean, can I hang out with Oprah? I'd be like, I could do that. So, and she's talented. So anyway, I did. I made my very first vision board in my entire life. I was supposed to do it in college. Please, that didn't happen. But they still let me pass. I think they wanted me to go. So, again, they were like, anything. What can we do to help you leave? So it was my very first one, January 2021. And on there, I put some stuff. I put New York City because it's my favorite place in the world. I come up here like I live here, but I don't. But my husband thinks I do because I leave all the time. For New York. He's like, I get a lot of payments in New York. My credit card says New York a lot. Can we buy things in Texas? Okay. So New York is a very big part of my life. So I have New York on this vision board. I have radio stuff on this vision board. And I actually sat there for a while. I remember this. I was sitting outside. It was January 1st. I'm sitting on the concrete and I'm listening to Adele, which, right, if you're going to get emo, right? Who remembers emo? Where are my 90s kids at? Like, if you're going to get in there, you get Alanis Morissette, you know what I mean, right? You're right? You get a little T Swift maybe if you want to move a little. But you get Adele and you cry and you go there, Not a journaler, but I am like a stand on my bed with a hairbrusher. Yeah, that's me, you know what I mean? So I had my girls on, maybe a little Barbara Streisand, feeling all the things, and I'm gluing and I'm cutting and I'm coloring, and I drew at the very end. I was like, I don't know, this is so dumb. And Steve had not told me. He was like, we kind of had gone back and forth. The holidays happened and whatever. So I was like, I don't know if this thing is going to happen or not happen. This morning show I had pitched, and so whatever. And so I was like, fine, whatever. And so I drew this, and I wish I would have brought it, but I hadn't thought that far ahead. But I drew this desk, and I drew a little moon and some stars, and I drew a mic on the desk, and I wrote "Late Night with Liv." Really soon after, Steve calls me, and he says, "Hey, we'd like to give you a show, but we're going to start you at 1 hour a week." He was like, we're gonna start there. And I was like, but I could do every hour. He was like, we know. We're aware, okay? But we want to know the weather and other things, so we're gonna just give you 1 hour. And he said, it's gonna be 8:00 p.m. And I was like, p.m.? Because I thought, maybe it'll be a commuter show. I just think everybody in Connecticut just gets on a train and only everything happens in Manhattan. And you guys don't do anything here in Connecticut. You're like, okay, we're getting sick of the New York stuff. We got it. But yeah, so I thought, okay, so this will be a commuter show coming back. And I was like, 8 p.m.? Good Lord, is that how bad the traffic is? Is that, they just work you people to death in New York City? Is it that hard, like Newsy said? And he was like, well, no, we're going to give you your late night show. And I was like, I haven't written a late night show. I didn't pitch you a late night show. And he goes, right, so we'd like you to start that. And I was like, can he see my vision board? I was like, where is Steve Laney? Is he in trouble? So, and then he said, we actually air in Connecticut and Long Island. And I was like, I've made it! I'm in New York! And I am. So I tell everyone I have a job in New York City, and you can't change my mind. This is my 42nd Street. So that's what's happening. I'm Annie, the orphan. All those things is happening right now for me. But here's what's really funny. I've been here in the city since the 4th of December. Today's the 9th, okay? So yesterday, the 8th, was when my 5-month anniversary for this show was. And my assistant, Anna, who's also my executive producer, decided to get us tickets on a tour to Rockefeller Center. And I'm like, I'm a local. I have a job in the city, so maybe you don't know that. We don't do tours. I was like, okay. I ride the subway and I yell at people. So she was like, so cool, but I already used the company credit card. And I was like, Nathan's gonna hate me. We just keep getting New York bills. So I was like, fine, we'll go on the Rockefeller thing. That's cute. She's from Ohio. She's 9. So that's adorable. She's 26. So I'll just take her. And I went, and we went to Rockefeller Center. And I tell you what, it was phenomenal. Like, I was like crying I'm friends with the woman who was our tour guide. We were texting today. I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding at all. And so what was so profound, and it could not have been a more perfect tie-in to everything that's happening right now, to this dream that I've gotten to live through with Veritas and Steve Lee, which a year ago didn't exist. To be here now, and when I told him, yes, I'll do a late night show, and then we could have crowds of people, and I could come do it live, and I could fly up there, and he was like, great, so we're gonna get Thursday for 1 hour. just live. If you could just mail it, you could put it in the mail. And poor Steve, I'm just forcing my way in. But yeah, a year ago now this was happening, and this studio that I had built was just for my podcast I had. It was just to make it into a video podcast. That's all that it was going to be and going to do. And now I have 3 shows and a media company. And here I am at Rockefeller Center 2 days ago with my assistant, who is 9. And we're with our little headphones. We're walking around with all the tourists, and I'm like taking 1,000. I'm so into it. I'm like selfieing with like a column. Like I'm gonna remember why I was taking a picture with the column. You know, I don't know. Like Katy Perry touched. I'm like, oh my god, Katy Perry. Yeah, you know, like it was ridiculous. And I'm doing all the things. And when we got inside, I don't know how many of you have been in Rockefeller Center, like in the inside, in the complex where Jimmy Fallon, you might have heard of him, you know, does his show and the late night show and all that kind of stuff. There's big rectangles on the ground. And I'm going to pause and say, Taylor, if you were editing this, now is where you put in the picture of the rectangles. Okay. Yeah. So he's not here for me to yell at. I thought that'd be funny. So anyway, on the ground are a bunch of rectangles. It's like rectangles within rectangles, like 4 like within each other. And they're all around. And what they said is that when Rockefeller was building it, that complex was supposed to be for the Metropolitan Opera. I don't know if you guys know that. But then the Great Depression happened, the crash happened, and the opera said, well, we're out. We don't want to spend money on a building. And so he was like, great, I'm John D. Rockefeller Jr., or whoever he is. And so he gets out of his Bentley, I don't know what he had, and he like, you know, comes down with a cane, and that's a hat, and he does all the things. And he says, I'm going to build this complex anyway. I believe in art. And the biggest thing that I believe in is radio. And he goes, and I believe in getting across and communicating and stretching through, and that's how we're going to reach people. And so all those boxes on that floor that are still there today at Rockefeller Center, those are radio waves. So I stood there in that complex with my 12-year-old assistant. She got older. And I stood outside and I took a picture of just my feet around with those radio waves. And then I stood in the middle of them because I'm in the middle of this dream. So I want to say thank you so much for being here tonight. We're celebrating Veritas, and it's not that late. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hello, and welcome back to It's Not That Late with Liv Harrison. My guests are already up here, which thank you for coming. I'm excited. I know it was really far to get here, but I've got the Greisens. Yes,
nailed it.
The Greisens, Caroline and Nick Greisen. Huh? Now you guys did not fly in from Texas. You do live in Connecticut, in the area. Yeah, fantastic. But here's the thing. This is your community, and you've heard of Veritas. You've heard of all this great Catholic stuff. Do you two happen to be Catholic?
Funny. Actually, we should just let the cat out of the bag now.
Should we wait? It's like Titanic. It's like it's a surprise ending.
Totally.
I'm free.
Free now.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So great. So it's okay. It's okay to bring that up. It's not a sad, sore, scary subject. Okay, here's what's really cool, actually, Caroline. When we were kind of talking, I don't really remember when this was. You showed me a picture of your mantle. And you have a really cool piece. Look at your face.
Love it.
Yeah.
You remember that? That's awesome.
It's my job to remember that. Oprah. Okay. Yale. Okay. Just in case they're watching, which we know they are.
You have favorite things too?
I do. Car.
That is my dream.
That's not gonna happen tonight.
Everybody gets a bonus. No.
You have a lip balm though.
We're gonna get there, Nick. We're gonna get there.
Sorry.
No, you're doing great. I believe in you. So tell me about the mantle. Tell me about that piece that I saw. I want you to just have fun.
First of all, you've got a great memory. The mantle I had, proportionally it doesn't really fit there, but it actually fits in our life. And it says on it, faith, family, football, the 3 F's in our life. And we'll put friends in there too. Because all of my friends are like, could we add that on to the end of it? I'm like, we're getting there, slowly but surely. But
There's only 3.
there's only
There's Sharpie.
somebody
to write for.
like my 5-year-old's like
Right.
friends. So that's kind of how we live our life. Faith, family, football, and it's a massive part of our life. Our Catholic faith is huge. Football, massive.
Why? Why is football? How has that fit into your life, Nick? Have you played?
It was my life.
in the,
It was my life.
Front yard?
Yeah, the backyard.
Brought the neighbors
I
over.
had an older brother who used to abuse me.
You were the ball.
Yes, I was the crash test dummy.
That's where you're living.
And since the reason my brother was an offensive quarterback.
Okay.
And I became, as being 4 years younger than him, I became a linebacker because he and all his friends were older than me. So every time we go in the backyard, I was the one getting abused all the time because when you're 4 years younger than someone and they're prepubescent, like, oh yeah, you're not going to win that battle. and then all of a sudden I became a little more angry as I got older.
I started eating raw eggs.
Absolutely, I did.
Did you?
Yeah. Started eating nails for breakfast too, right?
I love it.
Yes. And then essentially I was like, you know what? I want to hit other people. And so I started hitting my friends. Okay, in between the whistles, folks. Right? And it was just something that I really, really enjoyed and became good at it and I wanted to do it. And this is something that I went to the University of Wisconsin. I got an athletic scholarship and then was drafted by the New York Giants.
Nice.
In 2006.
I didn't know that's
G-Man, that's kind of our license plate.
Oh, that's cute.
But I think if you don't mind, I'm gonna throw a little something in there. Is that Nick's brother was a quarterback in the NFL and extremely faith-based and converted to Catholicism.
Really?
And really kind of.
Okay, I did too. So
Yeah.
the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, and cat's out of the bag. Yeah, and he converted as well. But I think his brother was a very big role model in the faith part and the football for you.
Love Jesus, hit people.
Love Jesus, hit people, go to confession.
Love
Jesus, hit people, go to confession.
Just pray for them, okay?
Yeah, right. Hail Mary.
Okay. Please get up. Okay.
How's your guardian angel?
How you feel now?
Until those guys became bigger than me, I'm in my playing weight. Everything's I weigh the same. It's just proportionally different now.
Same.
Yeah, right. All when we were 16 or 18 or 22.
Or birds.
Sorry,
okay,
you're
go ahead.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm in my 20s.
I was 6'2", 245 pounds when I played, and I was competing against offensive linemen that were 6'5", 320, 330, and I couldn't pick a side. I couldn't pick the right or left side. I had to go through them. And the hard part was that when they teach you, when I was growing up, you had to use your hat, which means you headbutt them, right? Because even if you have a face mask on, you hit them in the face, they're going to blink, right? Even if you have a face mask, and so essentially you're shocking them because you want to get your hands on them, and if I get my hands on them, I am able to control where I want them to go, even though they're 330 pounds. Sounds kind of interesting, but that's why I'm shorter too. I used to be taller. Bad technique, right? But that's what I do now.
Well, I mean, you're okay. I mean, it seems like you made it
Seems
out.
like it.
Yeah.
We just got started.
I know you're wearing Spanx. Just kidding.
Yeah, keep
Although,
falling.
we all are.
you could start that, NFL Spanx.
Yeah.
You might actually, okay.
There we
They
go.
already
I
have
made you
those.
want to
Those are called
side
really
stuff
tight
me.
pants. How do you think I landed this beautiful one?
Then he took off the pants. She was like, wait a second. Oh, the wedding day. Yeah. But anyway, it's not that late. It's not that late. We can keep our pants on, Nick. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't get paid that much. Okay.
Midnight somewhere.
That's the after show. He doesn't let me do that yet,
Okay.
Steve. Can't push it. Can we do after hours with
After
Liv? He's
hours.
like, dear
Yeah.
God, no. There's
I
not
will
enough
be in
candles.
bed, so sorry.
Yeah. Not enough candles the same pack. Okay, so you start playing with the Giants, and you weren't Catholic when you started playing? Is that
No, I wasn't.
okay?
I grew up Lutheran, and a good, funny story was that I actually tried to get my mom to convert when we were in 5th grade because I didn't play organized football. They didn't have an organized football program. But they did in 5th and 6th grade for the Catholics. So my brother and I tried to get my mom, as we're Lutherans at the time, to be able to convert to Catholicism so we could start playing organized football.
I like that. I like your persistence.
However, I
We
mean,
were very entrepreneurial in that trying to be innovative and trying to make a way, but yeah, she didn't agree. So we didn't actually start playing organized football until 7th grade.
and not Catholic.
And not
Not
Catholic.
And
Yep.
Jewish. No, I'm just kidding. We were at a temple. Okay, so you're playing, and so how did the whole Catholic thing come into play? Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah. Very good.
Well, you know
Thank
what?
you.
I would say we first off,
Let's
Lutheran
hear it.
Catholicism.
Carolyn,
we all pray to the same God, right? And I
Yes.
look at it that way. And when I was drafted by the Giants, I mean, you want to talk about a culture shock. I grew up in a town of 9,000 people. There was one stoplight, 45 minutes northeast in Wisconsin on the peninsula. And
Is that Wisconsin?
yeah, this is Wisconsin,
what we
and
were
some
doing?
people also say this is Michigan
got
too,
it.
right? So you look at this way, you got Lake Michigan in between here, right? Just to give you
Geography lesson,
geography,
everyone.
right?
Clap for
You know,
geography.
Yes.
You all passed. Thank you. Growing up in a town of 9,000 people, and then going to being drafted by the Giants, and now you're in 8 million people. It's a big culture shock.
That's a
I mean,
big team.
Yeah, everybody in Wisconsin, you go stop. Hey,
Yeah, everybody
you go. Everybody in New York, you're honking. Hey, you're giving you the bird, right? Wow, mom. Everybody says hello in a different way.
They all have the same finger in New York.
Absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
also like the letter F.
They are very kind. I mean, they are honking at you
Yeah,
to
well,
say
that's
hi
true.
in a
That
different
is
way.
true.
That is
Right?
true though. Your mom said everybody honks. Everybody's so nice. I'm like, oh, we are
Because
really.
there's something on my back of my car that says a bumper sticker honk if you're, But then going into my 4th year, I met a beautiful woman, and
Is she here?
Yeah.
By the way,
Do we not talk about that?
never actually thinking at the time, talking with my mom at the time, it's like, nobody's gonna have the same morals, the same
Yeah,
sure.
values that we hold, and I ended up meeting this beautiful woman who knocked my socks off.
Aw.
I always tell the story around that I knocked her socks off, but it goes the other way
Yeah.
around in terms of
You outkicked your coverage.
yeah.
You outkicked your coverage.
And after we had gotten married and then actually had our first child, Claire, it wasn't until then I was like, you know what? We all kind of need to be on the same page. We all need to be on the same faith, the same lines. And so I made the change.
So you were Catholic. You grew
Yep.
up Catholic?
Catholic, love Jesus. He's my homie. I love the Catholic faith. Love it. It was just a big part of my life. And I think as I moved to LA, I was in like a hut of what I could afford, right? It was like a hut and
Yeah.
it was like $500 a month.
Sure.
And it just so happens that I was kissing the only Catholic church in Beverly Hills next to me. And so I was able to practice my faith more, and it got deeper and deeper. And I think when Nick and I met, I had just moved to Los Angeles. I'm like, really? I just meet you? I've been in New York for like 10 years. And I think what Nick said was, am I ever going to find anyone that has the same faith? Because faith was the utmost importance to both of us. And just, go figure how God did that. I brought these two people from polar opposite worlds. I grew up in Greenwich and
Yeah, I grew up on a farm.
Arna
Everyone's like, oh, you're from Wisconsin?
And-
Do you live on a
Farm,
farm?
first
You know how to
thing
milk
everybody
cows?
says.
You're like, no.
No, I don't live on a farm
I
with
did
cows.
not grow up on a farm.
Yeah, so And it was great. And I think when I was younger in my faith, it was more just repetition, like go to church, do what I'm supposed to do. I think
You didn't own it.
I didn't own it, and
wasn't
it was a
yours.
part of my schedule.
Oh,
And I mean, I was 20, I was 15, 16. It was just all of a sudden, God and I just started having. I mean, I was annoyed a little, upset with him
He
at
can
times.
take it.
Yeah, he can.
He
Big
can
shoulders,
take it.
massive shoulders, and we would just kind of develop this relationship. And my standards were really high after developing that relationship with God, and I found somebody who felt the same exact way. It was a game changer.
How did you guys meet? So where was this meeting?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy, because I'm going to let you take this
You
one.
want the long version or the short?
Or the
version?
short.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
we got
And let's.
All right.
And there's a priest right here.
Okay. Can I get the clean version?
Short
I would
version.
get the
Short
clean,
version,
short
okay.
Yes.
version.
So
And the trip.
as I was playing for the Giants, we had a good friend who those actually mutual friends, and said we're actually hosting. There's a new restaurant opening up. We had an argument of where it was, still to this day.
Still, it's
And-
on Central Park South, but you don't want to mind.
One street south
It's
of
not.
that,
It's
but
not
it's
Central
okay.
Park South.
I feel like we could figure that out. Out of all the things we could solve,
So
but
they're
go ahead.
opening up a new restaurant. And they wanted to have some professional athletes come, and they were going to have dinner and whatnot. So we invited a bunch of people, and my good friend who worked for the Giants is also good friends with Caroline. And they ran into each other that day. Said, "Oh, you need to come to this event that they're hosting.
It was the Holy Spirit.
You need
Yeah.
to meet somebody." And she's like, "Oh, Jesse Palmer, The Bachelor. Oh, great."
He was there.
Yes.
So handsome.
He is delicious.
He was.
Yes.
And then,
Yes.
then
Yeah.
just-
So then,
yeah.
But we're over it.
Yeah.
so then,
We don't say his name.
Yeah.
We say Voldemort.
Yeah.
Okay.
so then Nick Greisen walks in.
Who's super hot.
Charming, tall, dark.
You don't even see
handsome,
Jesse.
right? And I walked in. I
Confession,
introduced
humble.
myself to Caroline, and I said, "Would you like to dance?"
Oh.
And I literally knocked her socks off with my dancing.
Is that true?
100% not accurate. That's okay.
At least I
We'll
thought
let
I
it
was
happen.
dancing.
We'll let it happen.
We'll let
It's
and-
also Epiphany tonight, which it's not.
Let me know when you're done with your version. We'll have to kick in mine at some point.
The quick version.
Right.
All right,
Cliff notes
so
version.
here's the really quick version. We met, we had a great time, knocked her socks off, and
Keep
I
saying that.
and she said she was going to move to LA, and I'm like, well, it's nice meeting you. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed our time, but I'm not going to do a long distance relationship. And really, so we don't talk for like 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm actually going to go out to LA, and I'm going to train out in LA with a teammate of mine. So I reach out to Caroline. We go out on 2 dates. First date we go out on, I forget my wallet in the guy's car. And I can't pay for it. But I said, don't worry. I'm really, really.
Ready for this?
I have my credit card memorized. I
And
can
I'm like-
tell them the numbers, and if they don't take it, then we'll just wait.
And
So I
I'm
really-
like the actor, like,
so-
I gotta pay for all that you just ate. Like, oh my gosh. He's like, don't worry about it. I got it all. It's all up
So-
there. It's all memorized. I'm like, sure. Right. And he really did. I was like, oh my gosh.
She's like, I don't know if I like this guy anymore.
No, I was like, yeah.
But I really prolonged dinner. He had to ask a lot of questions, made a lot of conversation. By the time my teammate rolls around after he's out to dinner with his
gosh,
wife and drops
this
off
guy.
drops off my wallet with the credit card and grabs his sushi and he runs. And,
Yeah, his friend,
went on
the
2
player,
dates,
took
right?
the dinner.
But,
Yeah.
we first met in, let's just say it. We first met in April. We actually, to prolonged everything, we actually didn't start dating until October.
I was,
And
What year is this?
This was 2005.
Okay.
yeah,
And I think the best part about it was that we actually weren't locally proximate to each other because,
became friends.
yes, we talked for many hours on the phone.
Many hours.
I
on
listened,
the-
but I listened.
Wonderful
I listened many hours on the
Wonderful
phone.
hours. Extraordinary
That's always the
hours.
man's favorite part. Yes, I remember.
Yes,
We
yes.
used to
He was
talk
class.
about
And we
Class.
essentially became best friends, right? Before we ever, really truly fell in love with each
Yeah.
other.
Let me just
We
give
fell
like,
as
Yeah,
best
so
friends.
you have a
Jacked
couple
out
of-
like 17 paragraphs
Yeah.
ago. So yeah,
Yeah.
one thing that I do want to say is when I met Nick, something that was profound for me, and I think I mentioned this to you, but I had to run, and he was profusely sweating, by the way. I just want to say we were.
I was bringing it on the dance
It was like
floor.
a white t-shirt. It was
A white
t-shirt, whatever it is.
I was wearing a black shirt that night, so
It was like drenched, and I was like, "This guy's got to go home. This guy's got Somebody just take him home. He is drenched."
You know Carlton when he
Yeah.
did? That was so not me, by the way.
That was so him. And so anyway, so he says to me, I was like, "Oh, listen, I have to go. So great meeting you. Good luck with everything in your season." Blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, no, the previous right? So then,
She'll be a confession later.
no,
That's not true.
it's true. So then he says, "Oh yeah, I gotta get up. I have to play in the church band." Ding, 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 ding.
Ooh.
What? I was like, "Is that a line?" I think I asked Quincy, "Is he like delivering?" I'm like, "No, he's like a Midwest guy. He's got feet." He's like, "Yeah. I got to get up and I'm playing in the church band and I play the guitar."
Yep.
Was that it? And I was like, I told my friend, I'm like, "Now that is hot. That is really hot. Is that really true?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he like gets up and like plays in the church band. I'm like, "Wow, that's pretty impressive." And then I asked him, "We're really telling you a lot here." And then okay, you're coming into our life right now.
They don't call me Diane Sawyer for nothing. Basically, Connie Chung.
I thought you were Oprah.
I'll take any of them.
I don't see any tissues on you.
So then he says, I said, "What was the best gift you've ever received?" It doesn't have to be materialistic. It can be anything. And
Wait, this is on the night that y'all are dancing and he's sweating like a
yeah, like I just said it.
You
Like,
said, what was the best gift
Well,
you
I
ever
was like,
received? Did you say baby Jesus?
no, but if he did, I would have been like, "That's too obvious." He said, "The birth of my niece." I was like, "Okay,
Wow.
sign me up."
Wow.
Sign me up.
Wow.
So that was like, there were moments like that where knowing my faith, and I think being in New York, and both of us being in New York, we just really had not come across anybody that we love sports.
date.
I was an athlete. We lived to play sports and had faith that was that deep. It was the Holy Spirit for sure. Moving through both of us. Clearly moving through a lot of you.
I love it.
That night. He was moving. He was moving. The Holy Spirit was making a move that night. He was dancing. I think some linebackers were like, "Slow down,
cleared
man."
soon, and
Yeah.
we'll have a little dance.
Yeah. Nick drenched on the table.
We're going to have a fundraiser. It's Dance Dance Revolution with the Greisens. That's how we're going to raise all the money for Veritas. Thank you for volunteering to do that, you guys. So you get married, you're Catholic, you're not, but eventually you caught on. Welcome.
I figured it out.
Welcome.
I figured
Yes,
it out,
way,
yeah.
way to go. But we love you anyway.
Yeah.
So, But so you come into the faith and you decide, this NFL thing is boring. I want to do something else with my life. You peace out. And you guys, not that this is all that you've done, but I'm going to hop to what we're going to talk about. You guys have started something together. You've made children. And then you've made another child.
And we are their leader.
And we are their leader.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
We have made
So
people, and
cute.
we are their leader.
We have magical powers.
We have magical-
We made people.
Yeah.
You made people?
You're very creative
Right?
together.
Yeah.
You've created more than just
With
humans.
the big guy upstairs. Yeah, I'll tell you.
He does. He has lots of big plans for y'all. So
Yeah.
what is this other thing that you guys have created that also brings in that sign in your home?
It's great, yeah.
Listen, and now you've made it into a product.
Yeah, and I think, Liv, that's a great kind of way to get into this because, so we created this product, which I'm sure some of you may have, and it's called G12 Generation.
Can someone actually bring it to me? I'd love to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait.
Oh, maybe one that she can try. Not a used one.
Oh,
Yeah,
never
we'll
mind. Never mind.
So, okay, there we go.
Perfect. Thanks.
And it's called G12 Generation. And it's an organic lip balm. And everybody's like, well, what is G12? Like, what is that? Our last name is Greisen, and that's the G. There's 12 of us. There's 8 children and 4 adults because I actually, run the company with my sister-in-law who has 6 kids and my 2. And it's the generation of organic thinking. And so we've actually have this lip balm, but we're starting to actually move into a lifestyle brand because what we have married is our love of faith, and on the back of the lip balm is scripture. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, because that's what we believe, and hopefully all of you do too. I think we created this recipe by ourselves, and we kind of did the global ubiquity part of it and was giving it away for for free. My sister-in-law and I made it, and she was so generous and sweet. And she's like, "Oh, we just have to keep." No, this needs to be a business. And so we started.
Because people have
we really enjoyed it, and they kept asking us for it, and so we created this lip balm business. And so far, we're in a lot of the NFL locker rooms and the NHL locker rooms, and we just were in the SB gift bags for this year's ESPYs. So that was like a massive, a big deal for these two little.
That is awesome.
Exactly.
Evangelizing the athletic world and getting your what means your family mantra, your motto, into the hands of the rest of the world.
And I think for us, our big thing is our health, and you know, our motto is we believe what you put in and on your body determines your health and ultimately your performance in life.
Right.
So our motto is commit to excellence. Whether you're flipping a burger, whether you're scooping ice cream, whether you're praying, commit to excellence in whatever it is you try to do. And so we took this and we married this faith, and our children play every sport in the book. So they take these lip balms, the moms take them, the kids are eating them because our joke is it's good enough to eat because it's organic. My bathroom smells amazing after my son goes. I'm like, oh, it's mint. It's strawberry lemonade today. Wonder what's next.
Every mom with a teenage son is gonna be like, do this.
Yeah, exactly. So ideally, moms buy them, you know, for their sports teams to give them out. You know, athletes, it's gender friendly. Men, my husband loves it because it fits in his pocket, and so. If you're looking for stocking stuffers, if you're,
delicious.
You know,
That's
pass the word around.
Palmer. As a lip balm.
That's your rose. That's your rose.
This is great.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. And I think that's what we're trying to do. We have some organizations, too, that are powerful for us, and that some of the proceeds will go back to. But I think we're trying to make a little mark in the athletic world that I think can also use some faith. And like I said, marrying all those things. And I said, in creating this lifestyle brand where the lip balm has actually been successful, and moving to other things people have asked us to start to look into. Hey, do you guys have this? I'm like, yep, we're on that. We're on that too. And that will be out in 2023. Right? Yes, sure. You know,
that's a good answer. I like that. You are an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and so and that's really. And I think for athletes to people to read the back of it and say, hey, you know what, whatever comes out of your mouth, whatever you lick from your lips, you know, have it be something that, you know, is inspiring and excellent.
Excellent. I like that. And I love the shape. I love that you guys changed the good old, you know, I don't know, it's like,
Well, somebody once said, hey, that's a great e-cigarette. I'm like, nope, that's a lip balm. That's a lip balm. Do not try to smoke that.
I think you should go to Times.
There was nothing in there to smoke.
Take it to Times Square, start handing it out. It'd make it smell better. Have y'all been in Times Square? Good gracious, they need this. Okay. Anyway, I think this is so fantastic. I really love this. I love everything that your family stands for and what you're doing. I want to say, I thought I just rocked. My pants are going to smell like that. But I really do. I want to say thank you for taking your platform and who you are and what you do and keeping Christ in the center of it and not putting him in the shadows or who you are in the shadows. I think that that's excellent. You know, that is on this show, I tell everybody to be extraordinary. And so that is extraordinary. And people think, oh, extraordinary, that means I have to be an NFL football player or I have to be an actress or I have to be Diane Sawyer. But what it means is it means to be more than the norm, which isn't hard, you know, if you guys have looked out there, which can just be sharing your faith and being proud of that and being out there in the open and evangelizing in a way that is creative. You're not walking around, not that there's anything wrong with this, handing out Bibles to everybody, you know, knocking on the door. This is something people need and that they can share, and it's for anybody. And that's so cool.
And I think too, it's that those people that might not have any faith, maybe they just read the back of that for 1 second, and that plants that seed of, wonder what is this about, and just maybe that's
there you
go somewhere.
Or you look it up. You actually take the time to look it up, and
that's what we want. Is we want people to look it up and get hooked.
Yeah.
From then, the Holy Spirit's gotta.
He can do the rest.
He can do the rest.
He can do the rest. Fisherman, just great. You just need him on the line.
Yep.
No, I love that. Well, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story with us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
I mean, this is fantastic. You guys are all I did nothing.
I thought it was supposed to be an NFL, former NFL.
I have a cousin who played for the NFL, but I'm very impressed. Chargers. Anyway, okay, so
What state are they even in anymore?
Yeah.
What city are they in? I mean, come on.
he's a headmaster at a Opus Dei school now, so you
Very
guys would
nice.
actually get along very
Oh,
well.
awesome.
Very nice.
Yeah. We'll talk about that at the after party.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, don't go anywhere. You are watching and listening live to It's Not That Late with Liv Harrison. Hello and welcome back to It's Not That Late with Liv Harrison. We're still recording in Ridgefield, Connecticut, and I've got the myth, the man, the legend, who also played for the NFL. Steve Lee. Well, kind of a little. Yeah, go ahead. You're on Wall Street. That's a type of hitting.
Yes. Let's go, Nick.
But Steve, okay, so you are the man that God hit in the head with lightning, like St. Paul. You were on a horse one day coming home, and he hit you in the head and said, "Start a network." Is that kind of what happened?
That is, you forgot the toga part. This was nowhere on the radar. It wasn't on the horizon. It wasn't on the agenda.
Starting Veritas Catholic Network?
Yes.
You weren't
Yep.
doodling that on your book bag whenever you were 13?
Exactly.
Got it.
No, and so I was just, I was driving into work one morning, July 2017, and I was listening to a podcast of a Catholic show, and on one of the breaks, a guy came on and said, "If you want to bring Catholic radio to your area of the country, give me a call." And I didn't really think anything about it, and I went into work.
Yeah.
And the very next morning, I was in my car at 10:30, calling him, and he picked up, and I didn't know, I wasn't expecting it. So
Like, I don't know what to do now.
Right. So I think my exact words were something like, "Hi, Jack. My name's Steve Lee, and I don't know why I'm calling you, but I heard your voice on the radio yesterday." So we had a conversation. I started that day a novena to the Holy Spirit, and I said, "Lord, just tell me two things. Number one, do you want me to be involved in something like this in some way? And number two, if you do, bring people into my life who can help me." So the second or third day of the novena, I was driving home, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I need to tell my wife."
You're like, who should I call? I feel like there's someone I should discuss this with. What is her name? She's very nice and pretty. We should call her.
So that night we put the kids to bed. We're in the kitchen, and I said, "I don't know if this is going to turn into anything, but..." And
She was like, "I just want to watch Netflix."
yeah, right. Liv, she looked at me and she said, "Wow, Steve, when did you lose your mind?"
No.
And I
She
was like,
actually said
she
that?
said that.
I've met your wife. Okay. Wow.
And I said, I don't know. She said, "So if you're really serious, we have two priests that we've known forever." She said, "Call one of them and talk to them." So I did.
We won't say which because we love them both. They're our favorite priests.
But it led to conversations. I started talking to guys who run other EWTN networks around the country, what's it called? FCC attorneys.
Oh, sure.
Yep. Radio engineers. I was like, all right, it feels like you're doing that second thing and bringing people into my life who can help me. And 4 months later, so that was July, 4 months later in November, I had signed up to go down to Birmingham, Alabama, to the EWTN Catholic Radio Conference. And a couple nights before I'm supposed to fly out, again, we're in the kitchen, and I just said, I must be nuts. I mean, I got a pretty good job, got a mortgage.
You might have a wife. We don't know. At the time.
Right. 3 kids in private school and college on the horizon, and like, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
And she touched me on the arm, and she said, "You have little faith." She said, "You don't know where this is going. It might not go anywhere, or it might go somewhere. Just keep going and just see what happens." And so that was November 2017, and here we are 4 years later.
At a country club.
Yes. Right. So Just really quickly, in the meantime,
Yeah.
we bought an AM station that has 900,000 people in its listening area.
Some are in New York. But I love the Connecticut ones.
We just launched on FM last week, or I guess by the time this airs. We launched on FM a while ago.
We're so big on FM. What is it? It's FM.
103.9.
103.9.
And we've got a roster of original shows that we're producing, like yours.
If I make it. We'll see after tonight. It was a fun 5 months. Right.
So here we are.
Here we are, and it's fantastic. And so we have Veritas because of Steve Lee. And so I want people to see the face that launched 1,000 ships and that launched 1,000 radio waves. How about that? The face that launched 1,000 radio waves. Radio waves. And I've only had water. But I will have wine when we're done with this. But this is what's so fantastic. And what we'll be asking and what we always need, what are some things that we will always be asking as a family for Veritas from to all of our friends in the Connecticut, New York, and other areas of the world?
Yeah,
what can they do for us?
Since you asked.
Yeah, it's
We
weird.
could use some money.
That is so shocking.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, listen.
No,
so
yeah.
I mentioned earlier tonight in our event here that there's no better tool for evangelization right now than Catholic radio. It is everywhere, and like I said, 93% of all Americans in the country listen to radio on a weekly basis. It's free. Every car has it. We're also, by the way, on every phone. Sorry.
No,
I don't
yeah.
have germs.
Oh,
You
you're
sent that.
please.
And with our mobile app,
Yeah.
and it costs a lot of money to run a radio station. So
Yeah, it
And-
does.
and
And we don't get paid. The shows are not getting paid, so we're all volunteers. So everything that we produce and do, is on our stuff. So I want people to know that it's not like you're buying my Range Rover. That's what my husband's for. Sillies. But I want you to hear that. Just to produce the shows, to put that on, to put it out on the air, takes a lot of money. I have no idea why. Steve probably does. He's smart. But I don't. But I do know that it does cost a lot of money. And so I want people to remember, especially as we go into this new year, because we are now in the new year. We're in Epiphany. Oh, we all forgot. We're in 2022. Just to keep it in mind. You get hit on things all the time. But this is a consistent evangelization tool.
Yeah.
This is something that is going to grow and to be around. And our goal is to get to Manhattan. Yeah, it is. And
Actually, so I was driving into the city this morning,
don't say it.
and I took a video and I sent it to our board members because we were in the Bronx, just about at Yankee Stadium, and we were coming in loud and clear on AM. So
What?
you're in New York.
No, congratulations. No, as much as I kid around, I just believe in Veritas so much. I mean, I don't even live here, and I keep coming back. And I want to just put everything. My husband and I support Veritas, and we do what we can. I know everyone in this room does. We know that. But we want people to share. We need everybody to share. This is the time of sharing in the Catholic Church, in media. This is what we do. Instagram, all those things that you think aren't a big deal. Facebook, YouTube, all the apps in your churches, putting in flyers, whatever. We've got materials. I know Steve does, and that kind of stuff. But that helps getting the word out and your support. So I just want them to believe in you, Steve.
Well, you're not believing in me. You're believing in
Veritas.
the organization. I also want to say, listen. You should listen because it changes lives. I mean, it's not an exaggeration. So, I've been talking to folks and saying, why are we doing this? We're doing this for the young man who sent me an email just about 6 months ago. And he said that he was a cradle Catholic, and he wrote me and he said, ever since I've been listening to Veritas, I've learned so much more about the faith. I've learned about devotions that I never knew about before, and I have just grown so much closer to Jesus. We're doing this for the mom who told me over the summer, she said that she was driving home one day with Veritas on in the car, her middle school son in the back seat, and something that they heard on the radio sparked a really awesome conversation between the two of them, which they then continued that night at the dinner table with the rest of the family.
Wow.
And 1 month ago, there was a couple who said that they had Veritas on in the bedroom, on the radio in the bedroom of their dying grandfather's bedroom for the last few weeks of his life, so that we could keep him company when they couldn't be here. So
wow.
it's not, so you keep saying Steve Lee, and I keep wanting to sink into the floor because it's not me.
It's not you.
But
it's nice to connect humanity, though. You know what I mean? People like to see, and we have so many things, especially being so disconnected with our phones and our, MacBooks and all that, and we're all connected on technology, that it does help to see the person, to see the real people behind this. That's why I wanted to come and meet all of you, and you could see what I do and what we're trying to do in this space. And so that's what it is. We're trying to get people to believe. With my show, I'm trying to get people to believe in people again. That's what my whole angle is. I want people to fall in love with great people like Caroline and Nick, and to hear these are some incredible Catholics or just incredible people. Because not everybody I interview is Catholic either, because there's a lot of other people on the planet. Don't know if y'all know that. So, we want them all. God made them all. So that's what, we're trying to do here. And I want to thank you for letting me be a part of this, Steve. And thank you for saying yes. This is your fiat. As we're coming out of this Christmas season, it is. It's Mary saying yes and letting God work through you. Any last closing words before we wrap up this incredible evening and get to some fun things that we're going to do later on off camera? It's a sweater contest, everybody. Calm down. It's an ugly sweater contest. Jeez, you guys, it's not that late, okay? It's such a good line. I use it all the time. Anyway.
That's it. No, thanks for what you're doing. And keep tuning in.
Yeah, keep tuning in. You guys, this has been a total blast. I hope you've had so much fun. I hope everybody listening and watching at home has had a good time. How y'all doing out there? Yeah? You okay? I've had a lot of fun. You guys, don't forget that everything that you do matters. You matter. You were put here for a reason. Every single one of you is not a mistake. And that you have someone in your life that could use Veritas, these shows, or anything like that. Or if you're looking for great places to put your money that's just sitting around and you want to believe in a dream, go ahead and mail it to Steve Lee. But seriously, thank you so much tonight. I've got to thank the Mitchells. I know that they don't want me to, but oh well. Jen, thank you guys. Y'all are just, please, they're phenomenal. They have shared their community with me. They've shared their time with me. They've shared their resources with me. They've shared their friendship with me. And I cannot say thank you enough. Thank you so much. So thank you to all of you. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Nick. And God bless everybody. Happy Epiphany. And don't forget to be extraordinary. Bye, y'all.